Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're jumping headfirst into, well, a field that's just flooded with visual information, where spotting the absolute tiniest detail can literally mean the difference between sickness and health. We are talking about radiology, X-rays, CT scans, MRIs, and how AI is really starting to change the game here. Specifically, we want to unpack what AI actually means for reading those vital scans and X-rays.
Right. And radiology, based on the material we've looked at, it's incredibly visual, isn't it? Just so much data. Think about radiologists day in, day out, dealing with these endless streams of images.
Yeah, and the sources really paint a picture of the challenges they're up against. You've got these really bustling hospital departments, right? Image loads just keep growing, scans are getting more complex, and there's this constant pressure, for speed and accuracy.
It's how exhausting.
It really does. It sounds like trying to find that tiny crucial detail, maybe a subtle sign of a stroke or an early lung nodule in what feels like just a massive haystack.
That needle in a haystack analogy is pretty spot on, I think. The complexity and the sheer volume mean that, even with incredible skill, the risk of missing something subtle, it's real.
So, okay, given that pressure cooker environment, where does AI actually fit in? Is it, are we talking about machines taking over this incredibly critical job?
No, not at all. And this is really a key point from all the sources. AI in radiology isn't about replacing radiologists. It's fundamentally about augmenting their expertise. You should think of it more like giving them an incredibly powerful tireless assistant.
An assistant.
Yeah, an intelligent one. This AI can scan those huge numbers of images, it can flag potential anomalies, do some preliminary sorting, which then lets the radiologist focus their expert attention where it's needed most on the complex cases, the suspicious findings. It's really about making the human expert even better.
Okay. So it's about boosting efficiency, boosting accuracy, but giving the radiologist a kind of superpower.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. It makes their job more manageable and potentially, more precise.
Right. Let's dive into some specifics then. What are the clearest examples from the sources of AI actually, doing this work?
Well, one standout application is definitely automated nodule detection in chest X-rays.
Okay. And the problem AI is solving there specifically?
It's finding those small, early-stage lung nodules. On a chest X-ray, they can be incredibly difficult to spot, especially if they're subtle or kind of hidden behind ribs or other structures. These are exactly the kinds of findings that can be, well, easily overlooked even by experienced eyes. But catching them early is just so crucial, particularly when you're screening patients at higher risk, like smokers, for instance.
So how does the AI actually help find those tiny, hitty things? What's the process?
So the workflow described in the material, it goes something like this. An X-ray is taken, and it gets automatically fed into an AI system. The AI analyzes the image. It's specifically looking for patterns that might indicate these nodules if it finds something suspicious. It flags that image for the radiologist. And often, it even highlights the exact area it thinks needs a closer look.
So it's like having an extra pair of eyes. Always vigilant, always scanning.
Precisely. A vigilant second set of eyes. It directs the radiologist's focus, but, and this is important, the radiologist then reviews the flagged image. They pay close attention to that highlighted area, they consider the patient's history, other clinical factors, and they make the final diagnosis.
Right. The AI isn't making the call.
No, definitely not. The AI is just saying, hey, maybe look very closely right here.
Got it. So what's the actual benefit then? For a patient, what does this mean?
Well, the sources suggest this can significantly improve the detection rate of those small nodules. By flagging things that might otherwise be missed, it helps catch potential cancers much earlier. And as we all know, earlier detection, it just often leads to better outcomes. It can literally save lives. It directly tackles that needle in a haystack problem for those really subtle findings.
Wow, that sounds like a massive impact already. Where else is AI making a difference like this?
Mammography cancer screening is another major area. Often it functions as a kind of AI-powered second read.
Second read. So, after the radiologist looks, the AI takes a look too. Is that it?
Sort of, yeah. Mammography is key for finding breast cancer early.
Yeah.
Right. But sometimes the abnormalities are just very subtle. Having a second expert review the images, that can be really beneficial. An AI system can effectively provide that, an objective second opinion, if you will. So the radiologist does their initial interpretation, then the AI system analyzes the mammogram, identifies any areas it deems suspicious.
Okay.
The radiologist then compares their own findings with what the AI flagged, paying extra attention to those AI-highlighted spots before they finalize their report.
So this seems really designed to catch anything the first human read might have possibly overlooked, just an extra safety net.
Exactly. That's the idea. And the sources point out that this approach can actually increase the overall cancer detection rates, helping to identify those really subtle abnormalities. And another potential benefit is helping reduce false positives.
Ah, right, where it looks like cancer but isn't.
Exactly. Fewer false positives mean fewer patients are called back unnecessarily for more tests, maybe even biopsies they didn't need. That reduces anxiety, potential complications.
That's a huge plus, both for the patient experience and, I suppose, for hospital efficiency, too.
Definitely.
The material we looked at also briefly mentioned a few other interesting areas, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Things like using AI to help identify potential strokes on CT scans really quickly, which is critical, right, for prioritizing urgent cases.
Absolutely critical.
There's also automation for more routine tasks, like bone age assessment in kids, and AI helping to actually improve image quality itself, like in MRI, using advanced reconstruction techniques, making the pictures clearer for the radiologist.
So, looking across all these examples, what's the common thread here? What kinds of tasks is AI really best suited for in radiology?
Well, what seems consistent is that AI excels at tasks that are repetitive, maybe time-consuming, things that involve sifting through massive amounts of data, looking for subtle patterns, or tasks where human perception might just have some variability, due to fatigue or just the subjective nature of interpreting really complex images.
Right.
It seems to be taking on the heavy lifting or highlighting the really hard-to-spot details, which kind of frees up the radiologist's cognitive energy, their brain power, for the truly complex diagnostic thinking.
And that makes a lot of sense. It's like handling the grunt work so the expert can focus. So, okay, how do hospitals actually get these AI systems up and running? It sounds like a pretty complex technical challenge.
Oh, it really is. I mean, the technical process involves training these AI models on just vast collections of medical images. We're talking millions of scans sometimes.
Wow.
And that requires significant computational muscle. You often need specialized hardware like high-performance GPUs, which these days are frequently accessed through cloud services. Then, once trained, these models need to be integrated and seamlessly into the hospital's existing workflow. The sources describe them being deployed as APIs. You can think of those like digital connectors. They let the AI system talk directly to the hospital's main image system, the PACS, that's the picture archiving and communication system, where all the images are stored and viewed. And a really key part is the system that actually presents the AI's findings clearly to the radiologist, right within their usual software environment.
Right. It has to fit their workflow. It sounds like a significant integration effort is needed. And thinking about implementation more broadly, say in different settings, maybe like in India, which came up in some related material we saw, what kind of considerations pop up there?
Yeah, that's a good point. While the specific radiology source didn't detail India, it definitely aligns with the general principles we saw for healthcare AI implementation anywhere, really. The material highlights crucial steps like navigating regulatory compliance. Getting these AI tools approved as actual medical devices is a big hurdle. And ensuring there's real investment in training the radiologists and the staff on how to use these AI systems effectively. You can't just drop it in.
Right.
Partnering with local companies could also be key, potentially for developing solutions that are tailored to specific infrastructure limitations or even addressing things like language diversity, which was mentioned in the broader context sources.
Yeah, adapting it locally makes sense. And we absolutely have to touch on the major challenges that always come up with AI in healthcare, things like data privacy and potential algorithmic bias.
Absolutely. Critical issues. Protecting patient confidentiality is, well, it's paramount. Using these huge data sets for training requires really robust data governance frameworks. You need strong anonymization techniques to ensure patient data is secure and private.
Can't mess that up.
No. And algorithmic bias is also a vital concern. The need to train these models on truly diverse data sets is crucial. Why? To help prevent biases that could lead to, for instance, certain conditions being missed more often in images from specific populations, just because maybe that group wasn't well represented in the original training data.
So it could perform worse for some groups than others if you're not careful.
Exactly. It's about striving for equitable performance, fair outcomes across all patients. You have to be very intentional about how the data is handled and how the models are built.
Okay. So it requires real diligence, but The absolute most crucial point, the one that just kept coming up again and again in the sources.
Human oversight. It remains completely non-negotiable.
Right.
The sources consistently emphasize this. Healthcare professionals, in this case radiologists, must always have the final authority in patient care decisions. AI provides powerful tools. Yes, it augments their abilities.
Yeah.
But it is absolutely not a substitute for their judgment, their experience, their overall responsibility for the patient.
So ultimately, AI in radiology, it's about empowering the radiologists, isn't it? It's giving them new tools to manage this overwhelming data, spot subtle details more reliably, maybe reduce the burden of some routine tasks, and ultimately help them make more confident and accurate diagnoses.
That pretty much sums it up, I think. It's intelligence assisting intelligence.
Thank you. That was a really fascinating walkthrough of this area. As we wrap up this deep dive, it really is clear that AI is stepping in, not to take over, but to support radiologists right there on the front lines of medical imaging. By acting as these intelligent assistants, these AI systems are helping human experts spot critical details in X-rays and scans that, might otherwise get lost in the noise. It helps make the diagnostic process faster, potentially more accurate.
And when you connect that back to the bigger picture, for you, the listener, this isn't just abstract technical progress. It has a really tangible impact on patient care. It can lead to earlier detection, help reduce errors, and ultimately that means better chances for recovery for you or, someone you care about.
It's actually quite powerful to think about this AI in radiology, kind of quietly working behind the scenes, amplifying the abilities of these dedicated healthcare professionals, ensuring those hidden signals buried deep within medical images are actually heard. It's kind of a quiet revolution contributing to a healthier future for all of us. So here's something to ponder. What does it really mean for the future of healthcare when this kind of partnership, human expertise, and AI's tireless vigilance really takes hold, not just in radiology, but maybe right across the board? It feels like a partnership that's truly just getting started.